or Mac, ready to challenge and compete, then we'll see how that goes.
You said that Cam's our quarterback. What exactly does that mean?
It's just what I said.
Just that, if when you start practice, he'll be the first guy back there, he's the starter. How long does that last for?
I don't know. Somebody would have to play better than he does.
Oh, Bill, you just said something absolutely mind-blowing as we read between the lines on that pick. What was that?
Cam is Mac spelled backwards.
Ooh-wee. That doesn't mean anything. Mike Tannenbaum, Dan Grazio joining us now. You've saunaed with Bill Belichick? What was that like? I'm kidding. That's not what we want to know. We want to know how you grade this pick, Patriots taking Mac Jones without even having to trade up to get him.
Yeah, Elle, we talked about this all night last night. It was an outstanding piece of work by Bill Belichick and the New England Patriots, and here's why. You have two teams behind you in Washington and Pittsburgh that also need a quarterback. And if I'm them, I'm thinking about giving up a third, maybe a fourth-round pick, even if I have to go up one spot to Minnesota to make sure that I get Mac Jones. The fact that they could get Mac Jones, who was in the debate to be a top 5 pick, at 15 and give up no draft capital is remarkable, and I admire his patience, and it worked out. It could not have worked out better for the Patriots.
What do you make of the pick?
I think to play off Mike's point, too often we assess these picks based on did the evaluation work out, right? But most of the evaluations aren't going to work out. History tells us that not only, so the best teams at drafting are the ones that stay disciplined, that assign a value to these guys and stick with it. And Belichick's entire, as you know, painfully learned over the years, Belichick's whole thing is about value, right? He's not going to pay more than he has to for anything. The free agency spree was all about finding guys on deals that would have been bargains in other years, but weren't this year because the salary cap went down. So here's a guy, he was willing to let somebody go up and take Mac Jones in front of him. He thought, if I get him at 15, great. If not, I have another plan I can go with. So I think it's typical Belichick what we saw last night.
Yeah, it worked out. And maybe we should have read the tea leaves because the only pro day that Bill Belichick himself actually attended was Mac Jones. Let's keep the conversation going about Mac Jones, a prototypical New England Patriot, Kevin.
Elle, thank you. Let's bring back Swagoo, Neek, as well as RC. And you know what? Let's give you another chance to shine here, Swagoo. You're the only person in the room on this show in your mock that had Mac Jones at 15. When that happened, that was playing out, and he fell in the Patriots' lap. What was your reaction?
My reaction was like my reaction is all the time. You was right, bruh. Like it ain't. RC
so that's
is my
all
big
the
brother.
time,
Fox is
every time
my big little bro. But at the end of the day, I knew I was gonna be right. RC tried to fight me on it, but I knew I was gonna be right because when we look at all of the situations that we've been through all of these drafts that we've watched, like I told y'all a couple weeks ago, it ain't no way in hell Mac Jones the 3rd overall pick in the NFL draft in no year. Okay, and this year was no different than any other year. So him landing 15 with the Patriots was the dream scenario, especially with the move that they made this offseason to put him right back in the same similar situation that he was in at Alabama. No, that doesn't mean it's going to translate to him doing the things he did at Alabama, but he damn sure set up well offensively with what they did and the philosophy that they have in New England.
It ain't the same situation.
It wasn't no surprise.
It ain't the same situation because his receivers at Alabama are better than the receivers that he is going to play with. And that's not hyperbole. That's not a joke. I'm not playing no games. That is a fact. He had 2 first-round receivers at Alabama. So the situation in New England is not as good as the situation he just left. But I do think that he's going to take over for Cam Newton no matter what Bill Belichick says, like he should. We were talking about him as saying he was like the guy who was most pro-ready, the guy who could step in and start right away. Like that was the argument that people were trying to convince us for why he was going to go number 3. And let's be frank, I was high on Cam Newton before the start of last year, but Cam Newton was bad last year. So Mac Jones absolutely should be the starter on this team.
Dom, then to your point, when do you expect, and then we'll have RC jump in, when do you expect this quarterback situation to play out in the season where Mac Jones replaces Cam Newton as the starter?
Well, I think it's entirely up to Cam Newton because it feels like Cam Newton is going to get his spot. And if he's able to bounce back and maybe he needed another year to fully recover from the injuries or to fully recover from contracting the COVID virus. Like maybe all that stuff or the separation from the team slowed him down. But it is completely up to Cam Newton. If they start out hot like they did last year and he stays hot, I think Mac stays on the bench. Mac Jones doesn't have the skill level to, I think, walk into camp and just wow people. And even if Cam is playing well, they're going to be like, oh, we got to sit Cam down because Mac Jones is just so nasty. So I think it's entirely up to how well Cam Newton plays early in the season.
RC, what do you want to see? What do you need to see?
Well, I don't need to see much from Mac Jones. I think the reason you drafted Mac Jones is because you know what you're going to get, right? We keep talking about the way that he processes, and he does process. But if we're going to put that as the reason that Mac Jones is on the field, he better be year 10 Peyton Manning right now. And even though Dom says Cam Newton didn't play well last year, which I agree with, think about this. They were 7-9, and they were a bad call on a Cam Newton run in Seattle away from winning that game, and they were also a Cam Newton fumble away from either tying or going up on the Buffalo Bills that puts you at 9-7 with 2 good wins. And so you've added other pieces to this team where Cam Newton could very well have this team on the road. We know that Mac Jones doesn't have the measurables, right? He doesn't have the talent. He doesn't have the it type of stuff. So they're going to have to see something from Cam Newton that allows Mac Jones to play. Because I just don't think you sit at practice and you're going to watch him throw a ball to Nelson Aguilar in practice and go, that is it. We have to put him on the field. He's the dude. It's going to depend on Cam Newton and the way that he performs next year.
All right, Swagoo, what are your expectations for Mac?
To play right away as soon as they realize that he's going to operate this offense and not be anything prolific, just be a distributor of the football. Listen, man, I was calling Cam Damn Newton all year long. The Patriots did not draft Mac Jones 15th overall to see if he could play quarterback. They already have an idea about what they're going to do with this dude offensively, and that's why we all thought,
Marcus.
Yes, you too, RC. That's why we all thought
Marcus
New
Rashawn
England was
Spears.
a great landing spot for Mac Jones. Mac Jones will be the starter for New England at some point this season.
Hush
Marcus Rashawn Spears. Mac Jones ran to the stage last night faster than Tom Brady ran his 40. Okay. And you know why? Because he knew he had fleeced the entire world. He knows he's supposed to be there. He won't be the starter day one.
We've got more of this, of course, coming up in the next hour. Coming up later on after the break. Once again, Chicago moved up to get their franchise quarterback, while the Bears had to go all in on Justin Fields. This is Get Up on ESPN. And let's also get Graziano ready to go. Sneaky Hembo time, and the battle continues. Who's the only quarterback in NFL history to change teams after making 3 consecutive Pro Bowls?
Pro Bowls, right. What?